Story 1. If you fly, even occasionally, noise-canceling headphones are worth every penny. With just the noise canceling on, without playing any music, it significantly softens most sounds. When you listen to music, videos, or whatever with the noise canceling on, you can't hear anything else, even crying babies. Story 2. Not really that expensive, but a good shower head. Even if you rent, swapping out the default shower head for one that will help with low pressure is a life changer. Swap it back when you're moving out. When I was renting, money was tight, but it is a necessary splurge. Story 3. If you hike, make sure to have good hiking boots. I dislike spending a lot of money on shoes and refuse to spend over $100 on any pair. So when I started hiking, I bought a pair of $35 boots. My feet were in pain on every hike. I finally gave in and purchased a decent pair of boots that cost over $100. It was difficult for me to do it, but the difference was incredible. I probably would have stopped hiking if I had continued to wear the cheap boots. Story 4. At first, it seemed silly to me to pay $60 a year to shop somewhere. But between the savings on gas, groceries, travel, appliances, and tires, it is well worth it. Story 5. A good mattress. I love my Tempur-Pedic mattress. It cost me about $4,500 but is worth every penny. Good shoes, good jacket, gloves, and toque if you're in Canada. Good tires, wiper blades, oil and washer fluid. Dawn soap, a good razor, good knives, a Leatherman, a good flashlight with good batteries in your house and vehicle, a good multipurpose screwdriver, drill, and drill bits, a good socket set, good toilet paper, a good set of personal boundaries that you adhere to in order to keep bad or toxic people out of your life. Story 6. Maybe a little niche, but plumbing fixtures in the US and Canada. The plumbing fixtures you get at a plumbing supply house or showroom where plumbers shop are better quality than the ones on the shelf at big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot, even if they're the same name brand like Kohler, Delta, Moen. Both supply house and big box store fixtures are better than the random products you find on Amazon. Supply house. More brass, heavy duty, last longer. Generally use interchangeable internal parts that are cheaper and easy to find or free with their warranty. You also have a person you can call if something goes wrong. Big box. More plastic, made to be cheaper, often have more issues, sometimes have cheaper and harder to find internal parts. If something goes wrong, you'll have to call the manufacturer. Amazon/online. Much more cheaply made, may not be certified to sell in the US or Canada, meaning they may contain harmful things like lead or other prohibited heavy metals that can poison you. Parts will be impossible to find when they inevitably start to leak. There is nobody to call, and some plumbers won't even install them. Story 7. Genuine Irish butter. So, let me acknowledge up front, I'm a baby boomer. Now that we got that unpleasantness out of the way, I can tell you this heartwarming tale of falling in love with Irish butter. When I was a kid, we only had the cheapest brand of margarine at home. My parents were both children of the Depression, and they were really poor and grew up to be really frugal. Cheap margarine just tasted oily and gross, and I never really liked it. My best friend's parents were rich, so they always had actual butter, but it was just some regular name brand butter. I tasted it, but I wasn't impressed with it either. It was kind of bland to me. I spent the next 40-ish years and raised a family of my own, never really eating much butter or margarine except maybe in cooking because I thought, man, what's the fuss? My wife never really made much of it either. We were just boring, no butter people. However, about 10 years ago, I went to Ireland with my wife, her business trip, me as a tourist, and we stayed in a nice hotel. We went to breakfast and they had all this fresh bread and mounds of this beautiful golden stuff that I mindlessly spread on a piece of warm bread. I thought, my God, what sorcery is this taste? Anyway, long story short, spend the extra money to get imported Irish butter. My cholesterol levels say, thanks, while my tongue says, spread it thicker, big boy, eat it like yogurt. Story 8. LASIK eye surgery. It's very expensive up front, but if you consider how much you spend on contacts and glasses, it's worth the price tag. Completely changed my life for the better. Story 9. Masseter Botox. I tried facial massage, acupuncture, and a mouth guard. I still wear the mouth guard, but with the injections, I actually have a good night's sleep. Sometimes I even have days in a row of excellent sleep. It's hundreds of dollars and needs to be done 3 times a year, but the sleep is worth it. Without sleep, everything is terrible. Story 10. Bosch Dishwasher. The only dishwasher that cleans like the old ones did but much quieter. I got the least expensive third rack version. The third rack is awesome. Story 11. Clothes that are made well with a slow fashion versus fast fashion mission in mind. My favorite clothing brand sells their wool button-downs for about $120. Some would say that's way too much to spend, but it's beautifully made from recycled clothing, good for the earth, weather-resistant, simple but elegant, and if it rips or tears, they will repair it. If it is not reparable, they will send a new one. This is a lifetime guarantee on the clothing I buy there. I don't buy extremely often, but investing in ethically sourced and produced clothing is really worth the price in my opinion. I think repairing clothing versus just throwing it away and buying a new one is the proper idea behind well-made clothing. Not a 10-year guarantee, but lifetime. They also take care of their workers, and I care very much about the conditions under which my clothing was made. Story 12. A good wheelchair. Wheelchairs in general are expensive, but having a brand new one with smooth wheels that rolls smoothly and without excessive effort is extremely worthwhile. It saves a lot of energy and helps prevent accidents if you have the good fortune to get one. Story 13. I'm usually a cheapskate, but experience has taught me that some things are worth spending money on. For example, 1. Car wash vacuum cleaners. It's worth spending $1.50 or so to use one, rather than trying to use your own vacuum cleaner. They get your car cleaner much faster than dragging out your home vacuum to try to clean your car with. Electronics. Buy them new from brand name shops. It isn't worth the hassle to save $10 somewhere and get something that doesn't work or doesn't have a reasonable return policy. Household help. If you can afford it, get someone to come in and clean your house regularly. It stays always clean without you having to do anything. Education. Now, this is a big one and much more could be written about it. Obviously, not all education expenses are worthwhile, so I'm not necessarily referring to a college degree or similar. But educating yourself, or especially educating kids if you have them, can return dividends throughout their life. Story 14. I'm going to get a lot of pushback, but glasses are a medical device you wear on your face. It's like if you had prescription shoes. They have to be comfortable, stylish, and work properly, all while lasting a year or two. It's worth it to get quality if you can. Bargains tend to follow the Sam Vim's boot problem. To continue the shoe comparison, though I'm glad they exist for people who couldn't otherwise afford them, and as backups for folks who wear contacts primarily or who have big prescription changes and can't use last year's glasses as a backup. Story 15. 1. All-clad or any 3-ply steel pots and pans. I finally convinced my husband, who does most of the cooking, that we should replace our inexpensive ones when a set went on sale 5 years ago. I can't count the number of times he said, "Why did we wait so long? They heat more slowly but hold heat better, so you don't have to turn the heat up as high. Food cooks more evenly and doesn't burn easily." A Cuisinart 14-cup food processor. We use it to make fresh hummus in seconds, which is way cheaper and tastier than store-bought. We use it to quickly prep veggies for fried rice, roasting, stews, soups, and to whip up feta, garlic, and other dips in pesto. We didn't think we'd use it as much as we have. KitchenAid stand mixer. We bought the Mini for space reasons. We don't use it as often as the food processor, but it has completely changed how we bake. Cakes, cookies, pastries, yeast doughs, custards, and meringues all turn out better than with a hand mixer. We make a Basque cake that we could never get the texture right. The first time we made it after getting the stand mixer, it came out perfectly. Attachments make fresh pasta and tomato sauce and grind meat for burgers, meatloaf, and sausage. Edited to add. I've only used KitchenAid brand, but the most important thing is the motor power and quality. What isn't? We bought a 4-quart and a 6-quart Lodge brand enameled cast iron Dutch oven, and after 15 years, they're still perfect, at a quarter of the price of the same size Le Creuset pieces. Story 16. I might get downvoted for this, but I hope I make my point effectively. I buy art, handbags, and jewelry that appreciate over time, in case I fall on hard times and need to liquidate on short notice. One art piece I sold for double what I paid for it when I lost my job once, and it covered the bills for the month. I've since replaced it with a much larger version, and that has appreciated significantly as well. A handbag I bought less than a year ago was a limited edition Louis Vuitton, and it's selling for triple now on the secondary market, from $4,000 to $12,000. If you actually buy things with the resale value and appreciation in mind, it's a smart investment. Plus, you're not filling up landfills with cheap items that fall apart after 6 months. I tell people about some of the things I've resold for double or triple what I paid for them, and they either get really excited for me or they get mad and gripe about how they could never afford to do that. Luckily, there are way more of the former than the latter. I bought a big house, and it's appreciated over $150,000 since July 2023. I am literally not trying to brag. I'm just trying to share my thought process and experiences. Make your spending have potential for good returns. Story 17. My answer is always the same for this. High-quality things between you and the earth. High-quality mattress or bed. Quality shoes. Quality socks. Quality tires. The first two are actually healthcare items. You won't realize how bad your current sleep is until you have great sleep with your back and neck properly supported. Similarly, you won't realize how much your posture is affected by your footwear until you try a day on your feet in quality footwear. Socks made of appropriate material, such as wool varieties, not cotton, make a difference in comfort. Good tires might just save your life. Every driving characteristic about your vehicle, including the ability to stop, is governed by the connection to the road, which is the tires. Story 18. Massage once in a while, full body health checkup once a year, recliner seats and multiplex, top variant of a car as opposed to mid-level variant, noise-canceling headphones, expensive screen guard for mobile phone, expensive but super comfortable walking or running shoes, super comfortable mattress, back and neck rest for car seats, buffet meal at a luxury 5-star hotel once in a while. I do it every birthday. Story 19. Good furniture. Like so many things, it's cost versus value. If you buy the cheap stuff, you'll be uncomfortable for 2 years until you have to replace it because it fell apart anyway. Story 20. $25 socks. There is a distinct before and after on my life's timeline when I discovered quality merino wool socks. As an added bonus, darn tough socks come with a lifetime warranty. Story 21. A good mattress. I spent thousands on mine, and my husband was upset. He's never slept better, his body doesn't hurt, and we're both nicer people because we now get a proper, comfortable night's sleep. It's the first time in my whole life, and I hope to never have to go back. Story 22. I moved countries about 7 years ago. Everything was sacrificed so my partner could be with her family. It meant I started over career-wise. I put every element of my life on lockdown and focused on quickly establishing myself. I bought a house, renovated it, and worked 70-hour weeks to build an emergency fund. Last year, I spent €5,000 on a new bed. Took 4 months to arrive, but let me tell you, it was worth every penny. I sleep well, and I have no aches or pains. I look forward to sleeping every day. I now sleep a solid 8 hours plus. So not only do I physically benefit, but I have less stress and anxiety. It changed my life after I changed my life. Story 23. A good haircut. Someone with skill will cut your hair in a way that looks good the entire time between your salon appointments, not just the day you leave the salon. Story 24. Travel insurance. It's not that expensive if you travel semi-frequently. You can get a whole year of coverage. If you don't travel often, you can buy one-time insurance. Many of the complaints, either here or elsewhere, would easily be rectified with travel insurance. I got sort of quarantined in a hospital in Tokyo. It was well before COVID. Essentially, I had bed bug bites, but also food poisoning. Add itchy and covered in bites to sweaty and vomiting, and it looks really evil and contagious. I didn't blame them by any means. It was something like 2 to 3 days or 2 nights and 3 days. Cost me just over 2,000 Canadian dollars. Everything other than $4 for soap was covered by the travel insurance. Without it, I would have had to eat that cost. Lots of credit cards have some insurance, but I prefer having a standalone policy because I know it works. Story 25. Good air fryer. The amount of time I saved by just throwing stuff in there with no further attention needed is awesome. Good vacuum and mop robot. Yes, they are expensive, but one of the few things where you can just buy yourself free time. Story 26. Getting home renovations done by a reputable contractor. Note, I went on to information technology work and am retired, so I don't have a dog in this race, but do have sympathy for workers and small businesses. My first job out of college was as an office manager at a small interior construction company. They would gut out a space and put in a restaurant, office, whatever. I wrote all the checks, kept all the books, and schmoozed with all the subcontractors. When you hire people to work at your house, you are going to think, Jesus, this is ridiculous. When you see the invoice, here's the thing. It's a 10-person operation. There is rent on an office. The things that need to get paid for are rent on the office and, if needed, a warehouse, liability insurance, workers' compensation, unemployment insurance, licensing fees and training, the person who answers the phone, and not just your calls, but also calls to and from subcontractors and suppliers, bookkeeping, office supplies, materials, the boss's salary, the person who invested a lot of money into licensing and getting the thing going, the workers, they deserve a living wage, trucks to transport workers, tools, and materials, time in transit. The workers should get paid for time spent in traffic getting to the job site. I'm sure I am missing something, as it's been decades, but I will always remember that. And I will reiterate that the workers deserve a living wage. Also, pull your permits. I sat in a permit office so I could save some money pulling a permit on my own and listen to a permit officer help a homeowner revise a job to make it safe for the homeowner and her family. Building codes are written in blood.